So I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I realize if I don't confess, then nothing I've been doing these past few years is going to make a lot of sense. You know, they say it's okay not to be okay. Well, I've been learning the opposite, that it's okay to be okay. Nope, that's not a typo. I didn't misspeak. I've been having trouble believing that it's okay to be okay. And it feels embarrassing because it seems like that's obvious to a bunch of people. But for me, to be okay for a long time felt impossible, inappropriate, maybe even unjustifiable. Impossible because the rage and despair that I was feeling are symptoms of a systemic problem. So no amount of talk therapy, no amount of drugs are gonna fix it. Inappropriate because those feelings of rage and despair match the predicament that we're in. And unjustifiable because, like, so many people can't be okay under these conditions. Like, how? How are we gonna be okay living in a world that's designed to be brutal and unfair? Like, how can I be okay while watching a genocide unfold on my phone, or while climate disasters ravage the planet, or while Black people are getting lynched again? And because people expect you not to disturb the peace with political feelings like grief, despair, rage, burnout, I was kind of defensive about the right to not be okay. Too many people seem to be okay with the blood in the mortar of this society. And I decided that I was not gonna be a part of that numbness. Right? And so I kind of refused to be okay as kind of like a moral stance. No, that's too hot. I'm gonna come back to that. There was this culture in the activist world that kind of felt like if you're not suffering, you're not serious. It's almost like the resistance rewards you for being unwell in some ways. So I worked overtime for the resistance, spent every waking moment in activism, and I was suspicious and dismissive of resilience talk. Until one day, pushing wellness to the back burner caught up with me. I remember after the George Floyd uprisings, I had pain in this part of my foot, my leg. Is this my foot or my leg? I don't know. But I had pain in this area for years. I remember being in so much physical pain at one point that I couldn't walk. I went to the chiropractor, and when she was talking to me about the different factors that could have contributed to what was going on, she mentioned stress. Ding, I think we're onto something here. And it wasn't just physical pain. Eventually I had so much chronic mental pain that I was sure that I was not gonna make it. I started feeling like if I didn't do something, if I didn't intervene on my own behalf, I was going to die a death of despair. What I just said reminded me of this book I've been slowly making my way through. It's called How Not to Kill Yourself by Clancy Martin. I wouldn't recommend it if you are struggling with ideation, because it is super hard to read, because he talks about, you know, different attempts that he's made and attempts that other people have had. But but he talks about how even people who think about suicide all the time, like I do, there's some ambiguity to it. Like, there is a part of you that wants to go. There's another part of you that knows how hard it would be for you to actually go through with that decision. Oof. Wow. Excuse me, we need to stop. Just a second. Even more so since the world's gone to shit. Okay, what I was trying to say before I was so rudely interrupted by my emotions is that even though I think about suicide all the time, and I have since I was young, there was still a part of me that wanted to save myself. And so the first thing that I did was start trying to write the biggest, happiest pop songs I could. And you heard some of them, like Glad You're Here and Make It to Tomorrow. But the other thing that I did was start reading about resilience and reading about mental health and reading about wellness. And a lot of the things that I read, fortunately, I knew that in so many fields, wherever you start, it's dominated by white voices. So early on, I encountered Black authors. I made sure that I encountered Black authors about wellness. But I easily slipped into the mainstream conversation about mental health and wellness. And of course, I encountered a lot of white authors and teachers, and their writings were helpful, the things, and hopeful even. But I often found myself asking, but is this relevant to Black people? And how so? And that's like the subtext for the songs of survival. And that's why I felt like this vlog is so important to make, so that you can understand that what's going on in the Songs of Survival series, especially in the Songs of Survival, is me in the background asking, how is self-compassion going to help someone who is depressed, enraged, grieving because of the state of the world? I haven't gotten to the end of my story, so I don't know how this is going to resolve. But I do know one thing, is that I'm a bit better than I was last year, mental health-wise. And this journey has led me to look into history and to be observant as I travel the world, like when I was in South Africa a couple years ago, or in Palestine last year, or in Colombia now, to look at the ways that people who this system was built to break insist on living life to the fullest extent possible, insisting on their dignity. The more that I look at it through the lens of liberation, which I don't really love that term because it's like a buzzword now. The more that I look at it through the lens of liberation, the more convinced that I am that it is okay to be okay. And now I'm just learning how.